Welcome to the podcast, Badass Mother Hustler, where the grit, stress, and the beauty of motherhood and entrepreneurship meet. We'll share the realities and stories of what it takes to make it all work and still be a badass mother. Now here's your host, Mattie Yacka.
Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to switch it up, and I'm actually a little bit nervous. I'm going to pass the mic over to my sister and business partner, April Pancoast, and she is actually going to interview me today.
All right, so today I'm chatting with badass mother hustler, Matilda Yacka. She's the mom of two and the business owner of the Pancoast and Yacka group. Tell us a little bit about your family.
So if people are just tuning in to the first episode, to this episode being their first one, I am married to my high school sweetheart, Andrew. We met, I think, junior year of high school. We started dating in the middle of junior year. We went to both proms together. So looking back at the photos, they're just hilarious. I had bangs. I'm pretty sure the first prom we went to together, he had like the shaggy hair, like right below his ears. It's funny because you've known him since you were like, how old? Middle school?
Middle school, yeah. Or fifth, maybe sixth grade.
Yeah. So we just laugh saying that like our youngest sister, I don't even think she talked when Andrew and I started dating.
Yeah, she was a baby.
Yeah, so funny. So we both ended up at Penn State. Andrew started at Rhode Island, came to Penn State a little bit later, and we broke up for a little bit there. And then I think it was our senior year, we ended up back together, and we have been together ever since. And then almost 5 years ago now, we welcomed our first child, Dakota. She is sassy, spunky leader. And then 2 years ago, we welcomed Grant, and he is a little cuddle love bug.
He is. They are so cute. Best family. So outside of your little family, does entrepreneurship run outside of your family anywhere else?
Gotta love my dogs. No matter where I put them, they are an issue.
It was either going to be your dog or mine. So.
I know. Sorry, people listening. So entrepreneurship. Well, our parents had multiple businesses when we were growing up. They had a mulch business in Newtown Square that they ran for, I don't know, what was it, like 15 years or more?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I was at least in 4th or 5th grade, and mom was driving to our softball games at the URA fields. And then I think they sold it when I was in college. So they had it for a super long time. And then in there, they had a few other businesses. You know, dad started that like Fatheads business, Stickum Kids. What else? The solar. What?
Construction.
Yeah, and the solar power business, but construction as well. Like that is the next main one after they were sold the mulch business. So yeah, it runs in our family. But did I ever think I was going to be an entrepreneur? Did I like grow up and be like, I want to own my own business? No, I always thought I was going to be a teacher and retire a teacher.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask next. Like, where did your career path start? I know you kind of fell into entrepreneurship. Why don't you take us back to where it all started?
Like how I decided to get off the teaching path?
Well, start with teaching.
I went to college at Penn State, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I mean, I was 18, and I feel like how many 17 or 18-year-olds definitely know what they want to do, which is why I feel like it would be super cool if as a senior in college, it was mandatory to do an internship to just get to know some different types of jobs and explore.
Or high school.
What'd you say?
College or high school?
In high school.
Yeah.
Like in your senior year of high school. So at least you kind of have an idea and you can check something off the list as, oh, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, I was undecided. And then I don't know how I ended up deciding to be a teacher. I don't remember. I think it's because I had so many younger siblings and, always helping with homework and babysitting and all that. So I was teaching in second grade, and I did that twice. And then once I graduated, so that was like when you practice teach or whatever, I forget what it's called. And I did that twice. Student teaching.
I was trying
And
to think of it too. It wasn't coming to me.
you've got pregnancy brain, and I have not had enough coffee today.
Yeah.
So after student teaching and I graduated, I subbed for 2.5 years, and I subbed in high school and middle school, and I did a little bit of elementary school. But after student teaching, I knew I didn't want to do the lower elementary school. Subbed in a middle school for 2 years, loved it. And
One of those crazy people that loves middle school.
it takes a special type of person to teach kindergarten. It takes a special type of person to teach middle school, and a special type of person to do high school. And I just loved middle school. The kids were hilarious. We could joke around. It took a while for me to get a job because when I left college, teaching was huge. So it was very competitive, hard to get jobs. I eventually got a job teaching 5th grade at Avon Grove Charter School, and I loved it. I loved that grade and the people I taught with. And like I said before, I thought I was going to be teaching forever.
Yeah, it's so crazy how COVID turned everything around, being from you graduating college and having a hard time getting in that field. And now, like, there's just not enough teachers at all, which, I mean, COVID is kind of what pushed you away from teaching, if you want to get into that a little bit and how you fell into our business together.
Yes. So I gave birth to my daughter in August of 2019. And I think she was like 3 weeks old, and I'm on maternity leave, and I'm holding her. And I remember I'm sitting on the couch in my family room, and I'm holding her, and I'm like, how am I supposed to put her in daycare starting at 7 o'clock in the morning and not pick her up until like 5 or 5:30? Because if I'm going to teach, I'm going to give it my all. So I'm not going to book out the door right away. I got to make sure I'm prepared for the students the next day. How am I going to do that and only get to spend like an hour or an hour and a half with her before she goes to bed because she's so little? And that's when I just decided, like, all right, I'm going to listen to what our father had been telling all of us in our family to do for the past 3 years, and I'm going to be a realtor. I'm going to get my real estate license.
His dream. He didn't care who it was. He just wanted a realtor in the family, and he ended up with 2.
I was going to say, gosh, he has to be super thrilled. Not 1, but 2.
Seriously.
So I signed up for self-paced online course, and I did that on Friday nights, Saturday during the day, and Sundays. And I went back to teaching that year, and come March 2020, so I wasn't even back. I went back in November, wasn't even back a few months. The world shuts down. We're quarantined. I'm about 80% through my real estate course. I finished it up because God knows we had the time. People had the time to learn to bake sour bread. They had the time to pick up new hobbies. So I finished that up, and I went to try to take my licensing exam, but everything was closed around us. You squeaked in right at the last minute to get yours.
The very last day that Pennsylvania was considered an open state, I took my test, and then everything shut down for, God, I took my test that was March, and you come July, we're still waiting for the testing centers to open back up.
Yeah. So our part of Pennsylvania was still in the red. So every time I checked, we were in the red and the testing centers weren't open. And here time is ticking. It's the beginning of July. And Andrew said, I mean, you're getting your Pennsylvania real estate license. Can't you just go anywhere in Pennsylvania and take it? And I was like, duh, why didn't I think of that? So I got on and looked to see where was open in PA that I could go. And it was, a race against time. So I was trying to get it as soon as possible. So I scheduled for Erie, Pennsylvania, which would be like a 12-hour drive.
Other side
And
of the state.
oh yeah, so I was going to make a weekend out of it, but I would always keep checking to see if there would be a testing center open sooner than that, because that was like the end of July, and one popped up in Pittsburgh and it was like the third week in July. So I only had to drive like 4.5 hours. And I went and I drove out, spent the night, woke up early, took the test, and thank goodness I passed.
Seriously, that would have been such a brutal drive home if you hadn't passed. Thank God you're a good test taker and you studied hard.
Yeah, I was jamming out on the way home to the radio. Otherwise, it just would have been silence.
Would have been a totally different vibe for sure.
Yeah. But, my thinking had not been take the test and then leave teaching altogether. It had been, okay, I'll take the test, I'll pass, I'll become a realtor and kind of ease into it, which I think it was like the beginning of August. The school had gotten back to everyone and COVID was still around. And they said, we're going to go back and we're going to do hybrid teaching. And I said to Andrew, I cannot do hybrid teaching. I did not like that. And he really supported me. And he said, all right, well, just hop straight into real estate then. Give it your all. I mean, you were already hopping straight in.
Yeah, I mean, we were both kidding ourselves, acting like we weren't going to jump straight in because, like you talked about earlier, our family's all entrepreneurs. We watched our parents be entrepreneurs growing up. They jumped straight into everything 100%. And I think we were just like fooling ourselves to be like, oh, we'll just see how it goes and take it easy. And then if it works out, like we'll go full time. That is not what happened at all. We both just pretty much jumped in and it worked out. So
yeah, we always give our all with everything we do. So like you said, who were we kidding? We were going to give this new business our all. So that's what we did.
Yeah, so outside of the initial obstacle of getting licensed during that crazy time, what other obstacles or struggles have you overcome or encountered as a mom entrepreneur?
So it was awesome the first couple months because Dakota was just one. She just turned one, and you and I were really starting our business off. It was a lot of from the computer and reaching out to people through social media. So I was able to juggle her in that. But once we started getting some deals going and she was becoming older, she really, wanted my attention. She didn't want me in front of a screen. So something that would have taken like 20 minutes to get done was taking like 40, 45 minutes. And I thought to myself, okay, all I need is like a couple days a week to get this real estate stuff that has to be done on a computer, like done with. So what can I do to try to balance everything? And I first started putting her in daycare just twice a week. So I would always, if something could wait, I would wait to get it done real estate wise on the days that she was in daycare. Everything else, she was my little showing buddy and my closing buddy. And I would bring her, we had matching t-shirts because you had a Cricut. So you made them for us. And I would take her everywhere with me.
Yeah, I feel like the timing of when we got into real estate made that hard to balance stuff only on certain days, just because everyone knows in 2020 the real estate market really ramped up and houses were being sold within a day or two of being put on the market. So it wasn't like realtors before us where things kind of could wait. Like if someone wanted to see a house, we could be like, oh, okay, we can take you this weekend. Like that wasn't really an option and still hasn't really been an option for the last 4 years that we've been in it. So I feel like it's been even harder trying to juggle that because of how fast paced everything's been moving.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It definitely wasn't easy. You and I mean, we are trying to start our business and we bought Zillow leads and we are taking tons of phone calls and trying to turn leads into solid leads. And sometimes I have a screaming child in the background because she wants a snack or whatever. And luckily, most people understood that. But yeah, you just go with it. You grind it out and you get it done.
Yeah. So balancing motherhood and being an entrepreneur is not always smooth sailing, as I'm sure most of the people listening can understand. What's been stressful about managing both of those roles?
I think it's what you mentioned, where the market has been insane still, although it's not as full force 24/7 as it was in the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. There are some slower times, but just having to have a quick response time and not really being able to turn off. Like some people, okay, they're done at 5 o'clock. They put in their day's work. They don't have to worry about it until tomorrow when they drive into work. I mean, for you and I, it's like, all right, we did a whole bunch of real estate today. Phone's quiet right now. Oh, hold on. It's about 6:30 at night and we're hearing back from someone and they want to write an offer and the offer deadline is, oh, tomorrow at 9 a.m. All right, let's go. Let's get it done. Put the kids to bed, sit down and write it till about 10:30 or 11 o'clock.
Yeah, there's definitely no off switch. And we've gotten a little better at balancing it. But like you said, this market's just so crazy. Like you got to do what you got to do and get it done.
Yeah. And I have started, I mean, people get it. We are people, and I'm a mom, and you're going to be a mom soon. And I would say like 95% of our clients understand if we don't answer them right away. Or even if we do text them like, hey, I can get that to you in an hour because I am on a field trip with my kid.
Yeah, and I feel like people appreciate the honesty too. Everything's so now, just telling them like, hey, I'm doing this right now. I'll get it to you soon. Like we haven't had any issues at all, especially because most of the people we work with are parents themselves, which is nice.
And the now culture, I feel like really revved up because of COVID, but also because of technology.
Yeah, the combination is crazy. I feel like COVID definitely blurred those lines of like, oh, this is happening during work hours and now so many people work from home. It's like we work all the time, which has always been the case for us, but in society in general, that's definitely been a blurry line, I feel like.
Yeah,
And then social media with instant gratification, combine those two and like, yeah, it's definitely a now culture.
absolutely.
So outside of like the struggles and trying to balance it all, I know that entrepreneurial moms experience motherhood differently than moms who work a traditional like 9 to 5 or are stay-at-home moms. So what do you think is some of the beauty that comes with being an entrepreneurial mom?
I think that it is amazing that on some days I just I'll be sitting there on a Tuesday. It'll be 9 a.m. and I'll be eating eggs and sausage and toast with Dakota and Grant. And I'll think to myself, geez, if I had not gotten into real estate and if I had stayed teaching, I would not be sitting at my kitchen table on a Tuesday in January eating eggs and toast with my kids. They would be at daycare and I would be teaching. I'd be with other kids, just not my own kids.
So true. And I feel like there's so many instances of that. Not like sitting around the breakfast table is one thing, but all the stuff that you get to do with your kids that like most people don't have the opportunity to. Like it was so nice out the other day and you and the kids like went to the park and it was like a Thursday afternoon and like sometimes you do just have to sit back and be like, oh wow, like I would not be doing this if I was in that traditional 9 to 5 role.
Yeah, and I just try to juggle things in a way that, okay, so yeah, I did take the kids to the park and they played in the stream with our friends and their cousins. But earlier that morning, I was up at 5:30 in the morning and I went to Starbucks and I sat at my table in the corner like I do every Tuesday or Thursday. And I put in 2 hours, 2.5 hours of work because I knew that stuff needed to get done before I went and had fun with the kids. And then I get to have a few hours with the kids. And then when Grant's asleep, when he's napping, I hop back on. I answer anything that has to be answered. And it's just, I'm lucky that our job is flexible enough in the way that I can pop in and out every few hours to accomplish things, unless it's urgent, like negotiating, writing an offer, being at inspections, things like that.
Right. So I feel like we have not touched on truly like all that you do and are balancing while also having kids. Like you just mentioned, you go to Starbucks at 5 in the morning sometimes. Like, why don't you tell people a little bit about your routine and then some of the other things that you've decided to head up in the past few years, like this podcast being one of them?
So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I wake up and I pack the kids' lunch, and either Andrew or I will take them to daycare. And that is when I'll either meet you at a local coffee shop in the morning so we can talk about our clients and where they are in a transaction, or talk about leads, or talk about your least favorite thing when we're taping for social media next. And then I normally in the afternoon, that's when I do showings. If they can wait till a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tuesdays and Thursdays, those are the days with my kiddos, unless I need to squeak some real estate stuff in. Like, here we go, being flexible again. Our one sister, Susie, lives in Pottstown, and I texted her one day and I said, hey, my kids hate being in the car. Is it cool if I drop them off at your place on the way to one of my listings in Boyertown, because I got to put the sign in the ground? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. So I dropped them off and they baked cookies with her and they had lunch, and I popped the sign in the ground, and then I turned around and went and hung out with Susie and the kids. So sometimes on those Tuesdays and Thursdays, there is a little bit of real estate sprinkled in, but it's nothing huge.
But those days are the days that you're waking up at like 5 a.m. and heading to the Starbucks up the road, right?
So I hit snooze a few times and I wake up at 5:20 and try to get to Starbucks by 6. I do get there by 6. But yes, on Tuesdays or Thursdays, or depending on how busy we are that week, both days. I think what you want me to hit on is that I am a crazy lunatic and I decided to start this podcast. So I was like, you had always talked about, like we should do a podcast. And I said, well, what do you want to do one on? And you had said real estate, but I just felt like I wasn't sure what exactly real estate wise we should discuss. And it never really took off. And then this year, not that this was on my vision board or anything, I just had this feeling like, all right, this is your podcast that you're going to start. It's going to be about entrepreneur moms. There isn't really like a whole lot of options to listen to something like this. Yeah. So let's go. And so I started that. And at the same time, I had decided that, you know what? I want to know some local business owner mom friends. So you kind of helped me start like an entrepreneur moms group that meets once a month. That has been amazing because I've met so many new mom bosses, all with kids at various ages. And that group is more just like building friendships with other mom entrepreneurs once a month. And then every other month, we're going to get together and hang out and do something fun. So our first thing we're going to do is the owner of BJJ Squared. It's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu club. Her name's Tyler. She has offered to teach us moms some ladies self-defense. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I feel like our business kind of like brought this around. I remember we were sitting in a coffee shop one day and like talking about how cool it is that we had met so many other like moms who are also hustling and running their own business, and we were sitting there like talking, we're like, this person, we met this person, and like is that what sparked the idea for you for the group, the podcast? Like what brought it all about? I feel like it came out of nowhere at full force.
It seriously came out of nowhere. Andrew was sitting at the kitchen table and I said, like those 2 book clubs I was in, I haven't really been going to them anymore. Because that was like twice a month, and you and I are part of our Unionville Community Fair Board, and we do the Thursday night tailgates. So that's 2 other weekdays a month. So Andrew's like, oh, okay, good. You'll be around more. And I was like, well, I think I'm going to start a podcast. And he was like, seriously? And I'm like, yes, but look, it's not going to take up any family time. I'm going to work it in to the nooks and crannies of life. But I mean, he knows that I am a go, go, go type of person, and he supports that 100%.
He's just along for the ride. He's like another one.
It's funny because I said to him yesterday, okay, so this coming weekend is Memorial Day, and here on this day we have this, on this day we have that. And he's like, good Lord, woman, can't we just not do something for one day? And I said, okay, look, on Saturday, there's nothing planned. However, we are going to go on our full moon hike Saturday night.
No, something is planned. Yeah, I catch the other side of that because I get dragged to all these social networking events with you for our business, and Andrew catches the flip side of that with all the other events. So between the 2 of us, we definitely get it. You like to stay busy. You're one of those people that definitely can't relax, but that's good. Everyone needs someone like that in their life. That's why we always joke that we are yin and yang, because we are pretty opposite in how we go about our lives, but it meshes well together for our business.
I like to relax. At night, I like to sit and read my book.
She says, I like to relax, but she ran a 10-mile Tough Mudder this past weekend because that's a relaxing weekend.
It was a great experience. One and done.
Yeah, we'll see how you feel about that in the next few years. I can see it happening again.
Maybe.
So, all right, let's jump into our 5 and 5 segment. I'm going to ask you your 5 rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What does your ideal chill day look like when you're not doing a Tough Mudder?
Yeah. So I really do love to read, and growing up, I loved to either lay in front of mom and dad's fireplace and read, or I loved to sit by the pool and read. So I guess my ideal chill day would be to have breakfast with my family, either at home or go out somewhere locally, then head to the pool or head to the beach and sit and read. And then, I mean, if this was like a dream chill day, then I would end the night with a bonfire.
Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Love that. Okay, so I know you love to read. I know you also listen to a lot of podcasts. So why don't you tell us what you're reading and what you're listening to?
So I just started a new book. It's on the floor over here right now because I'm going to go get my nails done after this and read the book. And it's called Almost Just Friends. So someone that Andrew used to run with at the firehouse passed me a huge bag of books. There were probably like 50, and I went through and I kept half of them. So I just have all these random books on my bookshelf that I never would have like picked out at the library myself. So it's one of those books. It is pretty good. I'm a few chapters in, but I do also like to listen to podcasts when I'm driving without the kids, because when I'm with the kids, they like to listen to music. So the podcasts I like to listen to are, if I'm listening for business, it would be Real Estate Rock Stars, or it would be Keeping It Real. And if I'm listening for fun, I stumbled upon Dumb Blonde, and she is the wife, her name's Bunny, of Jelly Roll, the country singer.
Interesting. I've yet to give that one a listen, but I know you've brought it up before.
I mean, would you peg me for that as listening to?
I know you like Jelly Roll, so I'm not.
I mean, you could listen to one of her episodes. It's definitely not what I thought it was, but it's cool. I mean, right now I'm listening to one where she's interviewing a medium.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah, I'll definitely have to give it a listen. Okay, so what is your favorite app or tool you use as an entrepreneur and mom?
So, as an entrepreneur, most people by now probably know that I am in charge of our social media most of the time, like 90% of the time. If I am posting a picture on our Instagram and it doesn't quite fit that like square zone that it has to fit, I normally pop it into square fit so that way it looks better when you look at the grid. So I like that. And as a mom, my sister-in-law actually told me about a sound machine called the Hatch, because when Dakota was younger, she was waking up way too early. And my sister-in-law was like, oh, I have the Hatch and you can set it. It has different noises. You can set different colors. So Dakota chose what color she wanted for the light on the Hatch to turn to in the morning. So when she opened her eyes, she would be like, oh, is the pink light on? It is. Like, I can get out of my bed. Or no, it's not on. So it must still be 5 a.m. and it's dark. I have to stay in bed. So I really like the Hatch.
That's cool. What is the song you blast the shit out of if entrepreneur mom life is too much that day?
I don't know how I stumbled upon this song, but it's a Meghan Trainor song and it's called Badass Woman, and I love it. It just is
so on your story the other day.
So upbeat.
I haven't heard that one. I'll have to give it a listen.
Well, apparently it was from some like motion picture soundtrack movie, because that's what the Alexa tells me when I ask for her to play it, but I don't know what movie it's from.
Okay, last question. What's some advice you can give a struggling entrepreneur mom?
I would say find your group of people to support you and to lift you up when you feel like you can't go anymore. Definitely don't give up. Find that group of people and they will pump you up when you are feeling sad or like you can't make your business go anymore, and you will get through it. But support network is so important, whether it's like the key players in your family or whether it's finding a group of friends that can understand what you're going through as a business owner and a mother.
That is great advice. And I think you've really built that tribe with your entrepreneurial mom group and just the people you surround yourself with in general.
Good vibes. You know, you're the vibe girl. Good vibes.
All right. Well, that's all I had for you today. I'm not your typical host, so if there's anything else that we should touch on.
I mean, so everyone, April is going to have a baby in how many days?
Like, hopefully only 10. Let's hope it's not more than that.
Yeah. So I think in like 7 or 8 months, I'm going to have to put you in the hot seat.
Yeah, you guys might be seeing me back on here. We'll see.
So if you would like to follow mine and April's business, you can find us on Facebook or Instagram. It is the Pancoast and Yacka Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. So just reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram. Thank you for interviewing me, April.
Thanks for having me on. I never thought I would be a podcast host, but there's a first time for everything. So,
well, there's something to mark off your bucket list.
Yeah.
See you next time, everyone.
See ya.
Thank you for joining this episode of Badass Mother Hustler. If you loved this episode as much as we did, and it left you feeling inspired and empowered, give us a quick like and subscribe, and we'll invite you back to our next episode. And be sure to share us on your socials and visit our Instagram, Badass Mother Hustler Podcast. We'll see you next time.